प्रेक्षणीये हितं ध्यायेच्च शुद्धभावेन चेतसा. Word-to-word translation: Sthitam, standing; Vrajantam, moving; Asinam, sitting; Shayanam, lying down; Va, or Guha Ashayam, the Lord dwelling in the heart; Prekshaniya, beautiful; Ihitam, pastimes; Dhyayet, he should visualize; Shuddha Bhavena, pure; Chetasa, by the mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thus, always merged in devotional service, the yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting within him. For the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always beautiful and attractive. Purport: the process of meditating on the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself and the process of chanting the glories and pastimes of the Lord are the same. The only difference is that hearing and fixing the mind on the pastimes of the Lord is easier than visualizing the form of the Lord within one's heart. Because as soon as one begins to think of the Lord, especially in this age, the mind becomes disturbed. And due to so much agitation, the process of seeing the Lord within the mind is interrupted. When there is sound vibrated praising the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, however, one is forced to hear. That hearing process enters into the mind, and the practice of yoga is automatically performed. For example, even a child can hear and derive the benefit of meditating on the pastimes of the Lord simply by listening to a reading from the Bhagavatam that describes the Lord as he is going to the pasturing ground with his cows and friends. Hearing includes applying the mind. In this age of Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya has recommended that one should always engage in chanting and hearing Bhagavad Gita. The Lord also says that the Mahatmas or great souls always engage in the process of chanting the glories of the Lord, and just by hearing, others derive the same benefit. Yoga necessitates meditation on the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, whether he is standing, moving, lying down, etc. ॐ तत्सत्। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेव श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So here beautiful verses are going on, which are the prayojana of yogic process. Usually, people will think that Lord doesn't have form. It is just a light. We need to enter into the light. That is the ultimate goal. And even the same light will also be there in the body. So that is the light ultimate. These are all the speculations. When we read this Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the reason Srimad Bhagavatam is called as Amala Puranam. There is no mala, there is no impurity at all. Everything is relishable, transcendental, and amazing. If we don't have that qualification to realize these transcendental facts, it is our lagging, it is our misfortune. It doesn't mean that whatever we are believing always is correct. No, we have to see the Srimad Bhagavatam as the supreme authority. Here, the yogi is really experiencing the Supreme Lord within the heart as standing, moving, lying down, sitting. And sometimes he feels that he is talking. That is the relation between the soul and super soul. The yoga eightfold mystic system. Yama, Niyama, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. All these are all to attain the stage of Samadhi. Pranayama, Pratyahara. So what in that process, what we experienced, Pranayama, Pratyahara, purification of the airs. Because the soul is floating, right? With these airs. So when we purify these airs through the process of mystic yoga system, it is possible the soul can can perceive the super soul sitting next to him as Suhrit. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He can talk to his friend. He can see his friend moving. He can see every action of his that Suhrit. So, what we can understand is it is not impossible. There are many approaches to see the God, to perceive the Supreme Lord within our super soul, to perceive the super soul within our hearts itself. And there are various approaches to see the super soul within the heart. One approach is Ashtanga Yoga system. And when we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 6th chapter, Srila Narada Muni also saw the super soul within his heart. That is a different approach. How he could see the super soul within his heart? With the mercy of the saintly persons. By their mercy, he learned the possibility of seeing the Supreme Lord. So, what we can understand from ages, from yugas, it is proven that we can see the super soul within our hearts, provided we should have that qualification. That can be attained in various ways. So, Srila Narada Muni in that canto, it is explained that he reached the bhava stage with the mercy of the sadhus, and by submissively rendering service to them, and by gaining the transcendental knowledge with the transcendental association, he could attain the bhava stage. So, what is the bhava stage? Atho Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Anadda Nivritti. Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and then Prema. Just one stage before then the Prema stage is the Bhava stage. Narada Muni could attain to that stage of Bhava and he could see the Supreme Lord. So from the same Narada Muni pastime, we could also understand that when he tried, he could see the Super Soul once. And he talked to the super soul also. He received the instruction. What he received the instruction? In this lifetime, you are allowed to see, to have my darshan only once. In this lifetime, it is not possible anymore. So, head towards north as per your plan. And when the Brahma's next day starts, at that time, in that millennium, you will again appear, and you can get the perfection of all your devotional practices. So when the next day of Brahma started, in another kalpa of Brahmaji, Narada appeared as the son of Brahmaji. And when we see Naradaji in this kalpa, he attained the perfection. And what we noticed very importantly is he did not sit down in one place and meditate. What he did, as a perfected soul, he started chanting and singing the glories of the Supreme Lord. Not in one place, whereas he is going all the worlds, all kinds of planetary systems, and he was able to deliver all kinds of living entities, not only humans, not only tribals, not only animals. We saw Srila Narada Muni delivering a snake also, a dog also. So, like that, Srila Narada Muni, he was producing, he is showing much number of results by singing and spreading the glories, preaching the glories of the Supreme Lord through Shravanam Kirtanam. We can attain the perfection through any 9 process of devotional services: Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam. But especially in this Kali Yuga, the most practical way is first 2 process of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized that these 2 process in this Kali Yuga, in spite of any fallen conditions. We read that in Srimad Bhagavatam, what are all the conditions of Kali Yuga? Prayena alpayusha sabhya, kalau hasti yuge jana, mandas manna matayo, manda bhagya hi upatrutaha. So, prayena alpayusha, we are very short lived. Hardly 70 years we are living. Because even though due to some good fortune they are living for 90 years, 100 years, what possibility is there for us to chant, for us to execute devotional service? Because our body is done. Very exceptional souls like these Maharajas, disciples of or Srila Prabhupada and his pure disciples, are able to achieve after 70 years of age also. But what is the hope for us after 70 years? Our hands doesn't work. Our mind, our senses, hardly they will have strength to maintain this body, to just eat and sleep. Mostly we can read ourselves and do something, but we cannot expect so much of vigorous preaching. But we are short-lived. Prayena alpaisha sabja. Kalau hasti yugejina mandasu mandapatayo. And we are very dull-headed. Our understanding capacity, our realization capacity is very low. We cannot understand in-depth philosophy. We cannot read so many Vedas, so many scriptures. We cannot memorize so many shlokas. Okay, with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Acharyas, we are able to understand the essence of all the Vedas, all the scriptures. In that aspect, we are so fortunate. But we should able to uplift others also. In that way, we can see the Lord every moment. So, what is the essence of this purport is, in the Kali Yuga, to perceive the Lord, it is not impossible. You can see the super soul even in the Kali Yuga, but the process that is mentioned here, it was possible at the time of age in the Satya Yuga, but in the Kali Yuga, our minds are so much disturbed. We cannot sit and meditate and focus on the super soul. When we cannot sit and meditate itself, how can we attain the perfection? So, in this Kali Yuga, the most possible way is chanting and glorifying the Supreme Lord. And in order to chant and spread the glories of the Lord, what is the preliminary process? Hearing. Whole Srimad Bhagavatam is glorifying about this hearing process. So, how Narada Muni, who is glorified in this Srimad Bhagavatam entire canto. Yesterday I was doing research. Is there any canto that Narada Muni is not present? When I searched Narada, and when we go for the filters, every canto is there. And initially, I did not see the canto 4. All other cantos are there in that filter results. Oh, okay. Canto 4 is not there. Narada Muni is not there. Then when I come down of the search results, fourth canto is the most 268 times Narada Muni's name is mentioned in the canto 4. So there is no single canto that is not glorifying Srila Narada Muni. That means whole, because he attained the perfection by hearing from the saintly persons, he could liberate the people in every canto. He preached the glories of the Supreme Lord in every canto. And that is the glory of the hearing process. The more attentiveness we have in hearing, especially from the pure devotees, if we hear and if we have sincere desire, acharyas in these scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam itself, it is mentioned that a potent husband and a humble wife, if they both have these perfections in releasing the semen and accepting the semen, how a perfect child will manifest. In the same way, when we are hearing from the pure devotees very submissively, sincerely, definitely the sprout of devotion seed will happen, and the devotion will grow, and it attains the perfection where we can see the super soul. That will be possible. And many great acharyas proved that. We have in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, there are so many pastimes. In Alvars, we saw so many pastimes. Almost all the Alvars, they were communicating with the Supreme Lord. Communicating with the Supreme Lord as if a person. There is a beautiful pastime when we visited the Sri Rangam and Kanchipuram. When Ramanujacharya was coming from Kanchipuram to Sri Rangam, how the Lord is waiting for. He was not able to sit, he was not able to sleep. He will get up for every second, and he will get up. Raja Ramanuja came. Did Ramanuja come? Did Ramanuja come? He could not tolerate the separation. It was so nice to listen. So he will go up to the gate. Still Ramanja did not come. What is this? How much time this Ramanja will take? Again he'll come back. He will sit. So then when he come, or when Ramanujacharya comes to Sri Rangam, Lord will go and immediately embrace. He was not given chance to offer prostrated obeisances also. So that much the sweet relation between the pure devotee and the Lord will happen. And even our acharyas, how many we saw Sakshi Gopal pastime. When Sakshi Gopal said that, how you are coming to, how you are asking me to come to that place as the evidence. I am the Lord. I am not supposed to walk. Then the pure Brahmana said that, when you are able to talk to me, you can also walk. Please come. And then the faith impressed that Gopal deity, and to keep up the words, to keep up the faith of that pure Brahmana, he started walking from Vrindavan. And in the same way, we saw Alarnath pastime. That sweet boy, when he called, when he has faith that Lord will eat when we offer Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, Yome Bhaktya Prechate Tadaham Bhaktya Upakritam Asnami Pretatmanaha. So Lord will accept it, provided we have love and affection in our offering. So in that Alarnath pastime, Lord showed that reciprocation. If you offer me, I will eat, I will accept it. And he showed that even now it is there, the evidences are there. So Lord will reciprocate. Our perfection will be depending on the extent we are first sincerely accepting these two processes, Shravanam, Kirtanam. So every day we should hear and we should read at least one sloka, at least one chapter is suggested, chapter a day. There are so many programs in the devotee communities. Chad means chapter a day. Every day they will at least focus on the translations, and wherever significant, every word is significant, every purport is significant, no doubt about it. Expected is we have to read ourselves whole Srimad Bhagavatam once along the translation and purports, and every day we should be able to read at least translations uh, of every chapter. And always we should hear this, and we devotees are so merciful, we are so fortunate. Our devotees, they recorded all these Srila Prabhupada books. They are much practical, because in this Kali Yuga we are so much spending all our time of 24 hours busily, uselessly, traveling for hours, going to the work, 3 hours traveling, 4 hours traveling. Just keep those audiobooks on the headphones and hear. Who will disturb us? And even in the trains also, there are quite boxes, and there were people are not supposed to talk in those quiet boxes. So they are just, they can listen to the music peacefully. So everyone will listen to the mundane music. We can hear these audio files, audio books of Srila Prabhupada, and we can hear with purports happily. In that way, also in that 2.5 hours, 3 hours journey, we can hear the whole chapter with purports. That is most practical way, right? That is the most intelligent way, I can say, because Shravanam Kirtanam both will happen in that. Because when we read the books, that is Kirtanam, right? And we are here, that means we can cover in one action, both the aspects, both the services in one action, Shravanam Kirtanam. So that is one more wonderful way. And if we hear at least one paragraph, that connection with the pure acharyas will be there. We should always maintain that connection, that remembrance, that I have to hear, I have to take the association, that eagerness, that sincerity will be helpful for us in our devotional progress. But even in the Kali Yuga, it is possible. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentioned in Kalyana Kalpataru. There is a one nice transcendental literature in that he mentioned that Janma Safala Tara Krishna Darshana Yara Bhagya Holiya Che Ekabara. Jo Janma Safala Tara. Our lives will be successful. Krishna Darshana Yara. Even one time, if we have Lord Krishna's darshan in our lifetime, bhagya hoyache ekabara, ekabara, at least one time, then he is so fortunate, he is so successful, his life is successful. Then one may ask, what is this? We are seeing the Supreme Lord in the mandir, in the temple every day. Yeah, whenever we go, we are seeing. But are we having the complete conviction that he is the Supreme Lord standing there? Are we serving in that mood? Are we seeing in that mood? Are we that pure in our mind, words, actions? So, if we are that pure, and if you really perceive, Lord, it should not be speculation. If we are, then our lives are successful. our Acharya showed that. Srila Rupa Goswami said a very wonderful fact that if any person in his lifetime not eating any other food other than prasadam, he can smell the fragrance of the Lord. That is possible. So, when Rupa Goswami said that by eating prasadam itself, we can attain that stage if we are 24 by 7 engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord and engaged in this chanting and hearing. It is possible to see the Supreme Lord singing, dancing, chanting, hearing, sleeping, talking. Everything is possible. So we have to have that sincereness, sincere endeavors. And one more last thing, what I want to conclude is never lose trust, even in spite of any difficult situations. Sometimes when we are when we are going through any adverse situations, the faith may flicker. So, in order to stabilize our faith, in order to achieve the perfection very soon, preaching is the most sublime process. Preach, preach, preach. Even if no one is there, preach to your family members. Even if no one is there, preach just like that. Many subtle living entities are there around us. Definitely, they will be liberated. Even the flies, even the bugs, even Panchabhutas are there around us. So they are all these subtle living entities, or many people. We don't know how many are rotating here around us in subtle bodies, hankering for liberation. We heard that in that Gokarna pastime, glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Dundukari and Gokarna pastimes, how Gokarna gave liberation to the Dundukari. So in that way, the so many subtle living entities are there. Where that Dundukari is there in that a roof, that is a hatched house. In the wooden logs will be there now to build the house. In the his that spirit is there in that log, and he was hearing attentively. So we don't know in the which corner one so many living entities might be there. So by hearing these transcendental glories of the Supreme Lord, they will be very much happy and liberated, and they will be relieved from lot of sufferings. So this Shravanam Kirtanam is such a process. Both get benefited. Whoever is speaking, whoever is listening. Usually, when we give $1,000 to someone, we will be the loser, the receiver is the benefiter. But in the transcendental knowledge, that's why it is absolute. Both ways. 1 plus 1 is also 1, 1 minus 1 is also 1. So that is the most perfect, inconceivable, transcendental glory of the Supreme Lord by this process. Both will be benefited when we are talking, when someone is hearing. So that is the glory of this process. Okay, with this, I will end the session. If there are any questions or comments, please post in Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Okay. Madhupat Prabhuji is not here. We will say Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and Vaishnav Pranam and Narsim Bhagwan prayers. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युं नमाम्यहम्. नरसिंह भगवान की जय. प्रहलाद महाराज की जय. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की जय. केन्द्र श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि.
Hare Hare Bol. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.